time, put me in, coach. Today we are talking about Kevin Durant. In fact, we're talking about the Brooklyn Nets.
You know who I am. Y'all know who I am.
Congratulations. The fact that they were able to keep Kevin Durant or get him to change his mind and not actually want to be traded, I'm happy for the Brooklyn Nets. Number one, because Kevin Durant is one of the best players in the NBA.
Play for the champion, good stuff. Get why you just not turning me on to this.
Has to do is decide to be that same vocal leader in the locker room with his teammates, also with one of his best friends being Kyrie. Now, before we continue on with this video, I need you guys to do me a huge favor. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and then share this video like an assist, because here we're talking basketball. So you're going to get commentary, highlights. Most importantly, we're going to cover the biggest stories in the world of basketball. So without further ado, let's continue with the video. I'm glad to see the Brooklyn Nets were able to keep their guy. Most importantly, I'm happy for Kevin Durant, because this situation with the Brooklyn Nets is the best situation he could have had. Because with any other team, they would have had to give up the things that made that team good in order to get him, which means that would have been a throwaway year. This season, if he was traded to another team, it would have been a throwaway year, because they would have had to give up very, very key players in order to get them, which means that team would not be very good. That team would struggle a lot. Then they run the risk of Kevin Durant saying, I'm not happy here. They definitely need to make some changes, especially with the coach. I don't care if they keep Steve Nash or fire Steve Nash, but they need a defensive-minded coach or somebody that brings defense, because as we've seen with the Boston Celtics, defense is going to get you through the playoffs. Defense and a great offensive strategy, but shots don't always go in. But if you can stop the other team from scoring, eventually you will get fast break situations. You will get open shots eventually. So as long as you're patient on offense, but you're aggressive on defense, that's going to make a world of difference. Next, Kevin Durant is the leader of this team, and he showed it with all of these actions. Now that has to carry over into the locker room with his teammates, meaning he has to be the guy to tell people what they're not doing, and most importantly, what they need to do so that they can make him more successful, which in turn will make the team more successful. Because believe it or not, Kevin Durant does have the power to say, I don't want this guy on the team. This guy isn't helping us. Now, more than likely, they'll figure out a way to move that guy, release him, trade him, whatever they need to do. If he's not that important to the team, or if the team doesn't feel that that guy is that important, trust me, they will get rid of him. Now, another thing KD has to do, he has to convince his best friend, or one of his best friends, I'm just assuming, I don't know these guys personally, but if Kyrie Irving is his best friend, he has to talk some sense into him.
And he's unpredictable.
Number one, because Steve Nash was a back-to-back MVP in the NBA. Steve Nash didn't win an NBA championship, but he was back-to-back MVP. That says a lot. And what I can tell you guys, for those of you who never saw Steve Nash play, he was an offensive surgeon. He was a guy who it was very hard to stay in front of, because he was irky-jerky with his dribble, but most importantly, he kept all of his guys involved, which made them a very hard team to defend, because Steve Nash didn't have to score 20 points a game. In fact, I believe he only scored about somewhere in between 10 to maybe 15 points per game, but he averaged 10 assists. So on average, 1 assist equals 2 points, unless it's a 3-point shot. So I'm gonna let you guys do the math. That's either 20 points or 30 points that he's accountable for. Kyrie has to become the point guard of this team. would be taking notes from one of the best point guards to ever do it. Kyrie has to buy into being the point guard for this team. And Kevin Durant, now being the voice and the leader for this team, he has to convince Kyrie to be that point guard. Because he would be taking notes from a back-to-back MVP player. He's not taking notes from a guy like me on YouTube. He would be taking notes from a guy who actually did it, who was actually extremely successful playing in the NBA at the point guard position, which would actually help Kyrie because he doesn't have to score every time. This is still a championship roster just because of the fact that they have KD, Kyrie, and Ben Simmons. That's a hell of a three because they all bring something different to the table. But they also have guys like Royce O'Neal who can play defense with Ben Simmons and Nick Claxton. So now they have 3 defenders that they have on this team now. I believe TJ Warren is at least an average defender, which means he can hold his own. Then you have your shooters. Also believe that this was a tactic by KD to get Kyrie that extension. So we're going to see what happens with Kyrie because the package that they got was KD and Kyrie. Mainly because this is Kyrie's hometown. Because what Kevin Durant says he wants, Kevin Durant is going to get. So with all this being said, I want to know, how do you guys feel about Kevin Durant deciding to stay with the Nets? Let me know down in the comments under this video. Other than that, I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.